My father handed our family's legacy to my deadbeat brother after I built it from the ground up. So I walked away and made a move that turned their world inside out. The wind howls off the Pacific, sharp and cold, slicing through my jacket as I stand on the edge of the Seacrest cliffs, staring down at the churning gray waves below. It's April, and the Oregon coast is a moody son of a gun, all jagged rocks and bruised skies, the kind of place that makes you feel like the world's holding its breath. I'm holding mine too, because 10 minutes ago, my life shattered like cheap glass. My phone's still in my hand, Lydia's voice echoing in my head. Evan, it's Noah. He's hurt. Bad. You need to get to Seacrest General now. My 6-year-old boy, my North Star, is lying in a hospital bed, and I'm stuck here, frozen, because the truth is, I don't know if I can face what's waiting for me. Seacrest, Oregon, isn't just a town. It's a living thing, all salt air and secrets, nestled between pine-covered hills and a coastline that'll cut you if you're not careful. The main drag, Ocean Avenue, is lined with weathered cedar storefronts selling crab rolls and driftwood art, while the harbor hums with fishing boats bobbing under the weight of the day's catch. It's the kind of place where everybody knows your business, especially when your family's name is Harper. For nearly 40 years, Seacrest Builders has been the heartbeat of this town, pouring concrete and dreams into resorts, schools, and community centers. My dad, Walter Harper, started it with nothing but a pickup truck and a handshake. Now, it's a $90 million machine, and I've been the one keeping it running. I'm Evan Harper, 38, the guy who's been hauling lumber since I was 12, who learned to frame houses at 16 and was running multi-million-dollar projects by 25. I've given everything to this company. 80-hour weeks, missed birthdays, canceled dates, all to prove I'm worthy of the legacy Dad built. He's 65 now, all steel and grit, with a voice like gravel and a management style straight out of the 80s. Yell first, praise never. The crews respect him, though. He knows every nut and bolt of this business, and so do I. I inherited his work ethic, his calloused hands, his inability to quit. But my brother Dylan? He's a different story. Dylan's 34, the baby of the family, and the golden child who's never had to earn a damn thing. While I was up at 5 a.m., walking job sites with coffee so strong it could strip paint, he was sleeping off last night's whiskey. Dad paid for his business degree, which he mostly used to charm co-eds at frat parties. When he shows up at our sites, always in a pressed shirt and boots so clean they squeak, he barks orders he half remembers from Dad, then bails before lunch. The crews call him the ghost behind his back, but to his face it's all, yes sir, because he's the boss's son. I've spent years cleaning up his messes, botched estimates, pissed off clients, schedules he screwed up because he didn't bother to check the math. Our mom, Clara, is the glue holding this mess together, or trying to. She used to run the office back when Seacrest Builders was just a two-man show. Now she's part-time, keeping the books and playing referee between me and Dylan. She's got a soft spot for him, always has. He's just wired different, Evan, she'd say, her voice gentle but firm, like she was trying to convince herself as much as me. Translation: don't expect him to match your hustle. I never did, but I covered for him anyway, because that's what family does. Or so I thought. I met my wife, Lydia, 10 years ago on a resort project. She was the architect, 28, with a sharp mind and sharper tongue. Our first meeting was a shouting match over a design change that would have blown our budget by $60,000. She won, and I was hooked. We married a year later, And 2 years after that, Noah came into our lives. That kid, he's everything. 6 years old, with Lydia's green eyes and a laugh that could light up the gloomiest Oregon day. He loves construction sites, strutting around in a tiny hard hat, pointing at bulldozers and cranes like he's the foreman. By 5, he could tell you the difference between a skid steer and a front-end loader, and he'd correct you if you got it wrong. "Not a digger, Dad. It's an excavator," he'd say, rolling his eyes like I was the rookie. The job sites are my second home, scattered along the coast where the Pacific roars and the air smells of salt and fresh-cut pine. You can hear the hum of drills mixing with the cries of gulls, and on a clear day, the horizon stretches forever. I'd bring Noah to the safer sites on weekends, let him inspect the equipment while the crew slipped him candy and laughed. Those moments, they made the grind worth it. But lately, I've been questioning the cost. I've missed Noah's soccer games, Lydia's gallery openings, all because I'm chained to Seacrest Builders. Lydia never complains, but I see it in her eyes when I stumble home at 10 p.m., bone-tired. She went part-time at her firm to be there for Noah, while I'm still clocking 70-plus hours a week, chasing a legacy I'm not sure I want anymore. I'm good at what I do, damn good. I landed 3 major resort contracts in 2 years, expanded our public works division, and grew our team to 160 employees, plus 250 subcontractors. Everyone in Seacrest knows I'm next in line to take over when Dad retires. Everyone except Dylan, apparently. He's got this delusion he's the heir apparent, despite barely showing up. The crews, the clients, even our competitors, they all know I'm the one holding this company together. But none of that matters right now, because my phone call from Lydia has turned my world upside down. I don't remember driving to Seacrest General. The hospital sits high on a bluff, its white walls gleaming against the stormy sky, a beacon you can see from miles away. Inside, it's all sterile lights and the sharp tang of antiseptic, the kind of place that makes your skin crawl. I find Lydia in the ER waiting room, her face pale, eyes red. She doesn't need to say a word. I know it's bad. Noah collapsed at school, mid-recess, no warning. The doctors throw around terms like arteriovenous malformation and hemorrhagic stroke, words that have no business being attached to a 6-year-old. They say it's a ticking time bomb he's had since birth. Critical condition, uncertain prognosis, prepare yourselves. I can't breathe. I call Dad from the hospital hallway, my voice shaking. Noah's in critical condition. I don't know when I'll be back. His response is a punch to the gut. Keep me posted. We've got the high school bid due tomorrow. No, I'm sorry. No, we're on our way. Just work. Always work. I hang up, my hands trembling, and focus on Lydia. We take turns sitting by Noah's bed in the pediatric ICU, where the beeping monitors are a cruel metronome. The nurses are saints, bringing us coffee, slipping us blankets, updating us on every tiny change. My best friends, Mike and Lucas, show up without being asked. Mike, who works in city planning, brings takeout from the Crab Shack and handles calls from nosy neighbors. Lucas, a lawyer, decodes the medical jargon and wrestles with our insurance company. They're our lifeline, keeping the world at bay so we can focus on Noah. Mom shows up once, on day 2. She brings a stuffed orca and a Tupperware of oatmeal cookies, her specialty. She stands by Noah's bed, fidgeting, her eyes darting to the clock. "I've got to get back," she says after 20 minutes. "Your father needs help with the Bayside proposal." She doesn't meet my gaze. Dad and Dylan don't come at all. Too busy with the community center project, Mom explains, her voice thin. I nod, too exhausted to argue. The betrayal stings, but I push it down. Noah's all that matters. On day 4, the doctors walk in, 4 of them, faces grim. I know before they speak. The bleeding in Noah's brain is too severe. They've done everything they can. My boy is gone, just like that. 6 years old, and the world is emptier without his laugh, his dinosaur obsession, his 2 big dreams. Lydia collapses against me, sobbing, and I hold her up, because if I let go, I'll fall apart too. The hospital offers grief counselors, organ donation forms, funeral planning, options that feel like a sick joke. There are no options when your kid dies. You just keep breathing because you have to. The funeral is a blur, held at the old wooden chapel on Cliff Street, where the stained glass windows cast blue light over the pews. The sound of waves crashing outside mixes with the organ's mournful hum. Lydia picks everything. The tiny oak casket, Noah's favorite navy suit, the plastic triceratops we tuck beside him. Her family flies in from California, her parents, sisters, and uncle, and they take over our house, cooking clam chowder, answering the door, shielding us from the world. My crew shows up in force, roughneck guys in borrowed suits, eyes wet as they hug me. Sam, my lead superintendent, starts a memorial fund in Noah's name. Mike and Lucas handle the logistics, so Lydia and I can just exist. Dad and Walter arrive 15 minutes late, standing at the back like strangers. They leave before the service ends, muttering about an emergency client meeting. Sam catches my eye as they slip out, his jaw tight, and shakes his head. I turn away. I can't deal with their absence on top of Noah's. A week later, I go back to work. Not because I'm ready, hell no, but because our house is too quiet, every corner screaming Noah's absence. The fridge still has his crayon drawings. His soccer cleats sit by the door. I can't stay there. Work is my escape, or so I think. The job sites are different now. The coastal wind still carries the scent of salt and cedar, but it feels colder. My crew doesn't smother me with sympathy. They just step up. Sam reorganizes my projects, prioritizes the urgent ones, and lets the rest slide. The guys are careful around me, pulling me into small tasks to keep my mind busy. A question about rebar, a quick check on a foundation pour. It's their way of saying, we've got you. I'm grateful, even if I can't say it. Then, at 2 p.m. on my first day back, Dad's assistant calls. Walter wants you in the boardroom. The office is a block from the harbor, all glass and reclaimed wood, with views of fishing boats bobbing in the distance. I walk in, and there's Dad at the head of the table, Dylan beside him, smirking like he's won something. Henry, our CFO and a family friend since I was a kid, sits across from them, staring at his notepad like it holds the secrets to the universe. Nobody looks at me. Have a seat, Evan, Dad says, like this is just another Tuesday. No, how are you holding up? No, I'm sorry about Noah. Just business. I sit, my gut twisting. The silence stretches, heavy as the fog rolling in off the coast. Finally, Dad speaks. We're making changes. The community center's 3 weeks behind, and we're facing penalties. The resort expansion's over budget by $1.5 million. I stare at him, my voice low. Are you kidding me? Those projects were on track when I left. What the hell happened in 10 days? Dylan jumps in, his tone smug. Don't pin this on anyone else, Evan. These were your projects. Henry doesn't look up. Dad continues like I didn't speak. Effective immediately, you're demoted to project manager. Dylan's taking over as vice president of operations. Your pay will reflect the change. The room spins. You're demoting me because I took time off when my son died? My voice is steady, but inside, I'm screaming. Dad shuffles his papers, unfazed. Business doesn't stop for personal problems. We nearly lost the Bayside contract while you were gone. I turn to Henry, who's been like an uncle to me, who taught me how to read blueprints when I was 15. He won't meet my eyes. This is bullshit, and you know it, I say. Those projects were fine. I checked with Sam before I left the hospital. What did you two do? Dylan smirks again. Maybe if you'd been focused on work instead of... Dad cuts him off, but then he delivers the blow that stops my heart. Your son's death is costing this company millions. That's why you're out. The words hang in the air, sharp and final, like a guillotine. Even Dylan looks shocked, his mouth half open. Henry finally speaks, his voice quiet. Walter, that's not... Stay out of it, Henry, Dad snaps. I can't hear anything over the roar in my ears. My father just blamed my 6-year-old's death for his company's screw-ups. Say that again, I whisper, my voice dangerous. Dad meets my eyes, unyielding. The company comes first, always has. You used to get that. I stand, my chair scraping the hardwood floor, the sound echoing like a gunshot. His name was Noah. He was 6. He loved dinosaurs and could name every machine on our sites. He died 10 days ago, and you couldn't even stay for his funeral. I pull my company badge from my pocket, toss it on the table. The keys follow, clattering against the polished wood. I gave this company everything. Missed vacations, worked 80-hour weeks, sacrificed time with my son. And you think it's worth more than his life? I don't wait for an answer. I walk out, the harbor breeze hitting me like a slap as I step onto Ocean Avenue. By the time I reach my truck, word's already spreading. Sam's in my office doorway as I pack my things. I heard, he says, his voice gruff. They're making a mistake. Within hours, 8 key players resign. Sam, Henry, guys from estimating and field ops, even our receptionist, Maggie. No speeches, just quiet decisions, like they're done with the Harper family drama. As I carry my box to the parking lot, Henry catches up. This isn't right, Evan. Your dad's screwing himself, and I told him so. Those projects? Dylan tanked them, changed schedules, moved crews, canceled orders. It's a mess. Why tell me? I ask, tossing the box in my truck. Henry sighs, his face lined with years of loyalty and regret. Because I watched you grow up in this company. Because I helped build it. And I can't stay with what it's turning into. I nod, climb into the driver's seat, and head home to our house on the hill, where the pines whisper secrets and Noah's absence is a wound that won't close. That night, I sit in Noah's room, holding his favorite Stegosaurus toy, its green paint chipped from too many adventures. The walls are still covered in his glow-in-the-dark star stickers, a constellation of memories. I make a promise to him, to myself. I'm not just walking away. I'm going to build something better, something that honors him. They'll regret the day they used my son's death against me. The next morning, my phone's blowing up. Seacrest's a small town. Gossip travels faster than the coastal wind. I've got job offers from 3 competitors and 2 former clients by noon. Dylan sent a company-wide email hinting I botched major projects. Classic Dylan, throwing me under the bus while I'm still grieving. But it backfires. Our clients aren't fools. They know I ran those jobs. The CEO of Pacific Resorts calls me personally. Evan, what's this crap from your brother? We're pausing our next 3 projects until this mess is sorted. No way Dylan's touching our $25 million lodge. Then there's a text from Frank Sullivan, owner of Tidewater Construction, Dad's biggest rival. Lunch tomorrow. Rusty Anchor, 1 p.m. Frank's a legend in Seacrest, a wiry 62-year-old with a buzz cut and a handshake that could crush rocks. Dad's hated him since the 90s, when Frank allegedly poached a client. I've only met him at industry mixers, but I'm curious. I've got nothing to lose. The Rusty Anchor smells of fried clams and sea air, its windows fogged from the steam of chowder pots. Frank's already there, nursing a coffee, his eyes sharp as he sizes me up. Thanks for coming, Evan. Your old man's a piece of work. We talk shop over fish and chips, material costs, new building codes, the latest in modular construction. He's no nonsense, with a dry humor that reminds me of Sam. Then he gets to the point. I want you at Tidewater. VP of Operations, full control, salary 40% higher than what you were making. And I want your crew, everyone who walked out with you. I nearly choke on my iced tea. Why me? You don't know me, not really. Frank leans forward, his voice low. I know you saved the Pacific Resort job after my guys botched it. I know your crew sticks with you because you treat them like family, not tools. And I know talent when I see it. He slides a contract across the table. Terms better than I'd dreamed. Think it over, but don't take too long. This town moves fast. As I leave, he adds, I'm sorry about your boy. I lost my son to leukemia at 10. Different kind of pain, but I get it. His words hit hard, a shared grief I didn't expect. That night, Henry shows up at my door with a flash drive and a grim smile. Company policy, back up everything. It's a gold mine. Financials, emails, proof Dylan sabotaged my projects while I was at the hospital. He delayed deliveries, reassigned my best guys, made promises to clients we couldn't keep. Your dad's been talking retirement, Henry says. Everyone thought you'd take over, but Dylan's been working him. They've been planning to push you out for months. I lock the drive in my safe, not for revenge, but for insurance. If they try to pin their failures on me, I've got the receipts. 3 days later, I call Frank and accept his offer, with one condition. I build my team from the ground up. He agrees without blinking. Within a month, I'm in a new office at Tidewater, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor. The coffee's better, the vibe's lighter, and for the first time in years, I don't feel like I'm carrying a boulder. Lydia notices it too. You're not clenching your jaw anymore, she says one night, her voice soft over a glass of wine. We're healing, slowly, piecing ourselves back together. My crew, Sam, Maggie, the others, fit into Tidewater like they were born there. Sam overhauls our field ops, cutting rework by 35%. Maggie streamlines the office, making us leaner than ever. We're a machine, and I'm starting to believe I can build something real, something Noah would have been proud of. 3 months in, the city announces a $50 million convention center project. It's a big fish, the kind that can make or break a company. Tidewater and Seacrest Builders are both shortlisted, along with 2 national firms. I know Dad will go all in. This is his swan song, but I've got an edge. Mike, who's now with the city's planning department, tips me off over beers at the Anchor. Word's out about Seacrest's delays. Dylan's making promises he can't keep, and clients are pissed. I'm not surprised. Dylan's all flash, no substance. PowerPoint presentations and zero clue how to pour a slab. Our bid isn't the cheapest, but it's the surest. We promise a tight timeline, backed by penalties if we miss it. I know we won't. I've got the best team in Oregon. At the city council presentation, Dylan shows up with a glossy video and vague answers. I can see the council's skepticism grow as he dodges questions about Seacrest's recent flops. Tidewater's pitch is rock solid, and 2 weeks later, we win. The news hits the front page of the Seacrest Chronicle, with Frank praising the team Evan Harper built. My name's in bold, and it feels like a middle finger to everyone who doubted me. That night, Dad calls. I let it go to voicemail. Seacrest Builders starts to crumble. They lose another project, then face a lawsuit over shoddy work on a school. Morale's in the tank, and key players are bailing. Suppliers demand cash up front. Subcontractors jack up their bids, expecting delays. Henry, now retired, meets me for coffee and lays it out. They're done, Evan. Banks calling in loans. They missed payroll twice. I shouldn't care, but a part of me, the part that spent 20 years bleeding for that company, still aches. Mom calls 2 days later, her voice cracking. Your father needs to talk. The company's collapsing. I agree to meet, not at the office, but at the Driftwood Cafe, a cozy spot with mismatched chairs and windows fogged by the sea. Dad looks older, his face carved with lines I don't remember. Dylan's not there, which is telling. We're 3 weeks from bankruptcy, he says, no preamble. I need you to come back. I'll give you 51% ownership, full control. Fire Dylan if you want. I'll consult only. I stir my coffee, the spoon clinking against the mug. Why would I help you? You blamed Noah's death for your screw-ups. He looks away, his hands shaking slightly. I was wrong. What I said about Noah, it's unforgivable. I cut him off. You don't get to say his name. He slides a folder across the table, a desperate offer. I scan it, then push it back. I'm building something better now. You taught me to put the company first. I just chose a different one. I walk out, the cafe's bell jingling behind me. 3 weeks later, Seacrest Builders files for bankruptcy. The news spreads like wildfire through the tight-knit construction world. Former employees call, asking if Tidewater's hiring. I take the good ones. Dad tries calling again. I block him. Then, one morning, I open my door to find Dylan, unshaven, reeking of last night's bourbon. Dad's in the hospital, he says, trying to push past me. Heart attack. It's bad. I block the doorway, my voice cold. Sorry to hear that. He blinks, like he can't believe I'm not crumbling. That's it? Your dad's dying and that's all you got? I lean in. What do you want, Dylan? He shifts, eyes darting. I need money, $90,000. Bankruptcy froze everything and I've got debts. Gambling, of course. Dad bailed him out twice before. I laugh, sharp and bitter. Not happening. You owe me, he snaps. I owe you for what? Tanking my projects? Helping Dad push me out when my kid died? His face pales when I mention the emails Henry saved. Before he can answer, a truck pulls into my driveway. Frank steps out, eyebrows raised at Dylan. Everything okay, Evan? Dylan's jaw drops. You're working with him? Does Dad know? Frank's not just my boss, I say, my voice steady. He's my partner. We're launching Tidewater Developments next month, high-end resorts, starting with a 200-unit complex. Dylan sputters, calls me a smug bastard, then storms off, kicking my mailbox for good measure. Frank just shakes his head. Charming family. Inside, Frank lays out our plans. We've secured funding for the resort, with options on 2 more coastal plots. The city's all in, thanks to our convention center win. As he leaves, he claps my shoulder. I had a falling out with my dad, too. Took years to fix it. Just something to think about. 2 days later, Henry calls. Dad's out of the hospital, minor heart attack. Dylan's been fired for stealing from petty cash. Mom and Dad are selling their house, downsizing to a condo. Feel a twinge for Mom, but she made her choice when she stood by them. A week later, a letter arrives on Seacrest Builders' letterhead. Dad's signature, formal, admitting the project failures were Dylan's, not mine. An apology for what he said about Noah. A handwritten note at the bottom. I'll regret this until I die. Not asking forgiveness, just wanted you to know. I show it to Lydia. She reads it, then asks, "What now?" I shake my head. Nothing. It's too late. The next morning is Noah's birthday. He'd be 8. Lydia and I visit his grave, a small stone under a pine tree, with waves crashing in the distance. We spend the afternoon at Seacrest General, finalizing the Noah Harper Memorial Fund to help families with kids in medical crises. It's the most meaningful thing we've done since losing him. As we leave, my phone rings. "Mr. Harper, it's Meredith from the hospital. Your father's back. He's asking for you." I almost say no, but something, maybe Noah's memory, maybe just being human, makes me say, "I'll be there." I drive across town, the road winding past driftwood-strewn beaches and fog-shrouded hills. Dad's alone in his room, monitors beeping, looking smaller than I've ever seen him. "You came," he says, surprised. I don't sit. "What do you want?" He tells me about his bypass surgery tomorrow. Then, quieter, "I know it's too late. What I said about Noah, I was wrong about everything." His voice cracks, and for the first time, I see remorse. Not just self-pity. I thought the company was my legacy. I thought I was building it for you and Dylan. I was wrong. I don't respond. What's there to say? He mentions our resort project, says it's impressive, says he's proud. I just nod. "Is that all?" I ask. He nods back. "Good luck with the surgery," I say, turning for the door. I pause. "I'll have someone check on you tomorrow." It's not forgiveness. It's not a reunion. It's just closure on my terms. I walk out into the salt air, the weight on my chest lighter. Not because we're fixed, but because I faced him as the man I've become. Noah's gone, but I'm still here, building something new, something true, and I'm not done yet. The salt air clings to my skin as I stand outside my new office at Tidewater Construction, the Pacific stretching out like a restless giant below the cliffs of Seacrest, Oregon. It's been a month since I walked out on Seacrest Builders, my family's legacy, and the weight of that decision still sits heavy in my chest. But there's a new fire in me, one I haven't felt in years, maybe ever. The harbor below hums with fishing boats, their horns cutting through the morning fog, and I can't help but feel like I'm starting over in a town that's watched me grow, bleed, and break. My name's Evan Harper, and I'm done letting my past define me. This is my shot to build something real, something for Noah. Inside, Tidewater's office is a world apart from the stuffy, wood-paneled boardroom of Seacrest Builders. Floor-to-ceiling windows let in the gray coastal light, and the space smells of fresh paint and ambition. My team, Sam, Maggie, and the others who walked out with me, has settled in like they were born here. Sam, my lead superintendent, is already barking orders over the phone, his voice carrying over the clatter of keyboards. Maggie, our receptionist turned office manager, has the place running like a Swiss watch. Her desk a fortress of color-coded files and coffee mugs. The rest of the crew, guys like Javier from estimating and Pete from field ops, move with a purpose I haven't seen in years. They're not just working for a paycheck. They're building something with me. And I'm not just their boss. I'm one of them. My first day at Tidewater, Frank Sullivan, the owner, handed me the keys to my office and said, "Don't screw this up, Harper. You've got free rein, but I expect results." Frank's 62, all sharp edges and no bullshit, with a military buzz cut and eyes that see through you. He's built Tidewater into Seacrest's top contractor, the kind of outfit that makes my dad, Walter, grind his teeth. Frank's not warm, but he's fair, and he's given me something my dad never did: trust. I've got full control of operations, a 40% pay bump, and a team that'd follow me into a storm. And trust me, we're about to sail into one. The news of my departure from Seacrest Builders spread like wildfire through this small town. By noon that first day, my phone was buzzing with texts and calls. Competitors sniffing around, clients asking questions, even old high school buddies wanting the gossip. Dylan, my brother, didn't help. He sent a company-wide email claiming I'd dropped the ball on major projects, a cheap shot to save his own skin. But it backfired. Our clients, guys like Tom Kessler at Pacific Resorts, knew I was the one keeping those jobs on track. Tom called me himself, his voice sharp over the line. "Evan, what's this nonsense from your brother? I'm pulling our next 3 projects until I know who's running the show. No way I'm trusting Dylan with a $25 million lodge." That call was the first spark. Then came Frank's lunch invite at the Rusty Anchor, a weathered seafood joint where the air smells of fried clams and the walls are plastered with faded photos of fishing boats. Over fish and chips, he offered me the VP gig, no strings attached. "I know you saved the Pacific Resort job after my crew botched it," he said, his voice low and steady. "I know your guys stick with you because you're not a prick. I want that here." He slid a contract across the table, terms so good I had to read them twice. I took 3 days to think it over, mostly for show, then signed on with one condition. I build my team from scratch. Frank didn't blink. Done. Now here I am, staring at a stack of blueprints for a new community center. The first big test of my time at Tidewater. The project's a $50 million beast, a convention center that'll put Seacrest on the map for conferences and tourism. It's the kind of job that makes or breaks a company, and both Tidewater and Seacrest Builders are on the short list, alongside 2 national firms. I know my dad's throwing everything he's got at this, his last chance to cement his legacy. But I've got an edge he doesn't see coming. I'm sitting at my desk, the ocean roaring outside, when Sam pokes his head in. "Got a minute, boss?" He's got that look, part mischief, part steel, that means he's onto something. "Just got off the phone with Mike," he says, closing the door. Mike, my buddy from college, works in the city's planning department. Not procurement, but close enough to hear whispers. Word is Seacrest's bleeding clients. Dylan's been promising deadlines he can't hit, and folks are noticing. I lean back, a grim smile tugging at my lips. Not surprised. Dylan couldn't pour a foundation if you gave him a manual. Sam chuckles, but his eyes are serious. There's more. Henry dropped by last night. Henry, our old CFO who walked out with us. He says Dylan's been tanking your projects on purpose, shuffling crews, delaying materials, the works. Started the second you took leave for Noah. My stomach twists. I knew Dylan was a screw-up, but this is sabotage. Henry's got proof, Sam adds. Emails, schedules, all backed up before he left. Says your dad's been planning to push you out for months. Dylan's been whispering in his ear, playing the loyal son. I feel the anger rising, hot and sharp, but I shove it down. Get me that drive, I say. Sam nods and heads out, leaving me staring at the ocean, the waves crashing like my thoughts. My dad and Dylan didn't just betray me. They used Noah's death to do it. My son, 6 years old, who loved dinosaurs and could name every machine on our sites, reduced to a scapegoat for their failures. I grip the edge of my desk, the wood biting into my palms, and make a silent promise. They'll regret this. The next day, Henry shows up at my house, a cedar-sided cottage perched on a hill overlooking the harbor. The wind's howling, rattling the windows, and the sky's a bruised purple. He hands me a flash drive, his face grim. This is everything, he says. Dylan's emails to Walter, project logs, even client complaints he buried. They've been planning to demote you since last summer. I plug the drive into my laptop, and there it is. Proof my brother deliberately tanked my projects while I was in the hospital, watching my son slip away. Changed schedules, canceled orders, or reassigned my best guys to dead-end jobs. And Dad signed off on it, every step. I locked the drive in my safe, not for revenge, not yet, but to protect myself. If they try to pin their collapse on me, I've got the truth. But the truth doesn't fill the hole Noah left. I sit in his room that night, holding his chipped Stegosaurus toy, the glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling mocking me with their permanence. Lydia finds me there, her eyes soft but haunted. You're different here, she says, sitting beside me. Lighter, maybe. I don't feel light, but I nod. I'm building something new, I tell her. For him. She squeezes my hand, and for the first time since Noah, I feel like we might make it. At Tidewater, we hit the ground running. Sam implements a new quality control system, cutting rework by 35%. Javier streamlines our bidding process, shaving days off our timelines. Maggie's got the office humming, and Pete's out in the field, making sure every nail's driven straight. We're lean, mean, and hungry, and I'm starting to believe we can outshine Seacrest builders in every way. The convention center bid is our chance to prove it. Mike calls me a week before the deadline, his voice low over the phone. Seacrest's in deep shit, man. They missed a deadline on the high school job, and clients are jumping ship. Dylan's been schmoozing, but he's all talk. I can hear the smirk in his voice, and I can't help but grin. What's the council saying? I ask. They're nervous, Mike says. They want reliability, not flash. You've got a shot, Evan. I hang up, my mind racing. This isn't just a job. It's a chance to bury my dad's legacy and build my own. The bid day arrives, and the council chambers are packed, the air thick with tension and the faint smell of coffee. Seacrest's presentation is first, and Dylan struts in like he owns the place, his suit crisp, his smile slick, his PowerPoints all glitz. Drone shots of the coast, promises of jobs and tourism, but when the council grills him on timelines, he flounders, dodging questions like a kid caught cheating on a test. I can see the council members' faces harden, their pens tapping impatiently. Our turn comes, and I keep it simple. No flashy videos, just hard numbers and a promise we can back up. We'll finish on time, or we'll pay penalties. Sam and Javier stand with me, their confidence radiating. The council nods along, asking pointed questions we answer without hesitation. 2 weeks later, the call comes. Tidewater's got the contract. The Seacrest Chronicle splashes it across the front page with a quote from Frank. Evan Harper and his team are the future of this town. My name's in bold, and it feels like a victory lap. That night, I'm at home with Lydia, the harbor lights twinkling through our windows, when my phone rings. It's Dad. I let it go to voicemail, his voice clipped and tired. Evan, we need to talk. I delete it. Seacrest Builders is imploding. Another lost contract, a lawsuit over shoddy work on a school, and a revolving door of employees bailing. Suppliers are cutting them off, demanding cash up front. Subcontractors are padding their bids, expecting delays. Henry, now retired, meets me at the Driftwood Cafe, the air thick with the scent of espresso and sea salt. They're done, he says, stirring his coffee. Banks calling in loans. They missed payroll again. I should feel vindicated, but there's a pang I can't shake. 20 years of my life went into that company. It's hard to watch it burn, even if they lit the match. 2 days later, Mom calls, her voice trembling. Evan, please. The company's falling apart. Your father needs you. I agree to meet, not at the office, but at the Driftwood, where the mismatched chairs creak under my weight and the windows frame the stormy coast. Dad's there, alone, looking like he's aged a decade in a month. His hands shake as he grips his mug. We're 3 weeks from bankruptcy, he says, no preamble. I need you back. 51% ownership, full control. Fire Dylan if you want. I'll step back. I stir my coffee, the spoon clinking softly, and look him in the eye. You blamed Noah's death for your failures. Why would I help you now? He flinches, his voice low. I was wrong, Evan. What I said about Noah. It's the worst thing I've ever done. I cut him off, my voice sharp. You don't get to say his name. He slides a folder across the table, a desperate Hail Mary. I glance at it, then push it back. I'm building something better. You taught me to put the company first. I'm just doing it my way. I walk out, the cafe's bell jingling behind me, the wind whipping my face as I step onto Ocean Avenue. 3 weeks later, Seacrest Builders files for bankruptcy. The news hits like a tsunami, and former employees start calling, asking if Tidewater's hiring. I take the best ones, guys who know their craft and don't need babysitting. Dad tries calling again. I block his number. Then, one foggy morning, I open my door to find Dylan standing there, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, his usual swagger replaced by desperation. Dad's in the hospital, he says, trying to push past me. Heart attack. It's serious. I block the doorway, my voice cold. Sorry to hear it. He blinks, stunned. That's it? Your dad's dying? I lean in, my words deliberate. What do you want, Dylan? He shifts, glancing around like he's being watched. I need money. $90,000. Bankruptcy froze everything, and I've got debts. Gambling, of course. Dad bailed him out twice before, but I'm not Dad. Not happening, I say, my voice flat. He bristles. You owe me, Evan. After everything. I cut him off. Owe you? For sabotaging my projects? For helping Dad push me out when my son died? I've got the emails, Dylan, all of them. His face goes white, and before he can respond, a truck pulls into my driveway. Frank steps out, his eyes narrowing at Dylan. Everything okay here? Dylan's jaw drops. You're working with Sullivan? Does Dad know? I smile, cold and sharp. Frank's my partner. We're launching Tidewater Developments next month, a 200-unit resort, high-end market. Dylan sputters, calls me a traitor, then storms off, kicking my mailbox as he goes. Frank raises an eyebrow. Your brother's a real peach. I laugh, the sound bitter. You have no idea. Inside, Frank lays out our plans. Tidewater Developments is our big swing, a luxury resort that'll redefine Seacrest's skyline. We've got funding, land, and the city's backing, thanks to our convention center win. As he leaves, he claps my shoulder. My dad and I didn't speak for years, fought over the business, same as you. We fixed it, but it took time. Just something to think about. I nod, but I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be. A week later, a letter arrives on Seacrest Builders' letterhead. Dad's signature, formal, admitting Dylan caused the project failures, not me. An apology for what he said about Noah. A handwritten note. I'll carry this regret forever. Not asking forgiveness, just needed you to know. I show it to Lydia, her eyes scanning the words carefully. What are you going to do? She asks. I shake my head. Nothing. It's too late. Noah's birthday comes, and he'd be 8. We visit his grave, a small stone under a gnarled pine, the ocean's roar a constant companion. We spend the afternoon at Seacrest General, finalizing the Noah Harper Memorial Fund to help families with kids in medical crises, meals, bills, hotel rooms, whatever they need. It's our way of keeping Noah's light alive. The hospital's been incredible, connecting us with social workers and donors to make it real. As we leave, my phone rings. Mr. Harper, it's Meredith from Seacrest General. Your father's been readmitted. He's asking for you. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over the decline button. Lydia squeezes my hand, her eyes steady. Go if you need to. I nod, telling her to head home. The drive to the hospital takes me past the harbor, where the fishing boats sway under a sky heavy with rain. I'm not doing this for Dad, or for some fairy tale reconciliation. I'm doing it for me, to close this chapter on my terms. Dad's alone in his room, monitors beeping, his face gaunt and tired. He looks small, not the larger-than-life figure who built an empire. You came, he says, his voice weak. I stand at the foot of his bed. What do you want? He tells me about his bypass surgery tomorrow, then pauses, his eyes meeting mine. I know I don't deserve this. What I said about Noah, I was wrong. About everything. His voice breaks, and for the first time, I see real regret. Not just a man trying to save his skin. I thought the company was my legacy, he says, the words slow, deliberate. I thought I was building it for you and Dylan. I was building it for me. I don't respond. The monitors fill the silence, steady and unyielding. He mentions our resort project, says he saw the announcement in the paper. It's good work, Evan. I'm proud of you. I nod, my throat tight. Is that all? He nods back. Good luck with the surgery, I say, turning for the door. I pause just for a moment. I'll have someone check on you tomorrow. It's not forgiveness, but it's enough. I step outside, the coastal wind sharp against my face, and feel something shift. Not healing, not yet, but a release. I faced him, not as his son, but as Evan Harper, the man who's building a new legacy. 2 months later, Tidewater Developments breaks ground on our 200-unit resort. The site's a hive of activity, cranes silhouetted against the sunset, the air thick with the scent of sawdust and salt. The mayor's there, shaking hands, along with city officials and local bigwigs. Frank gives a speech about Seacrest's future, then hands me the mic. I talk about sustainable design, community impact, the kind of stuff that gets people nodding. But my eyes catch a figure across the street, half hidden in the crowd. Dad, recovered from his surgery, watching silently. He doesn't approach, and I don't wave him over. Some wounds don't close. Some bridges stay burned. But as I stand there, surrounded by my team, my wife, my real family, I realize something. Seacrest Builders' collapse set me free. I'm building something better, something that honors Noah's memory, a legacy of purpose, not just profit. The crowd claps, the cameras flash, and I hand the mic back to Frank, my heart full. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning.